Everyone, hello, welcome to my live stream. If you've never been to a live stream before, welcome. My name is Brittany. If you've been here before, if you've been to any of my live streams, and a number of you come back every week, so that's great. Thank you for coming back. We have a really fun live stream today. I thought of a really good idea that, since you guys liked the community post that I posted a couple days ago, I thought, why don't we talk about this together? Because there is a very weird phenomenon happening in Hollywood right now. A lot of movies are flopping, and I want to get your guys' opinion on what's happening. But before we get into that, I want to say hi to you guys. How are you doing? Hi Mr. Pink, hi IDEK, hi Natanya, hi CD Woods, hi Gracia, hi Shay, hi Sadie, hi Just X Lobo, hi Catherine, hi Green Teletubby, hi Koharu, hi Grace Likes to Draw, hi Maggie, hi Alex, hi Doogie, hi Anchored, hi, Yusufeth. Oh, there's a lot of people here. Oh my gosh. Hi, Madison. Hi, Prince. Hi, Bunny. Hi, Nagisa. Hi, who haven't I said yes? Hi, Pinky Ice. Hi, Maximoff. Hi, Martin. Hi, I have no idea. Oh, it's your first live stream. Welcome. Hi, Emma Book. Hi, Davika. Hi, Saga. Hi, Mushroom Kitty. Hi, Clever Clover. Hi, Jin Van Vliet. Hi, Brianna. Hi, Phoenix Hunter. Hi, Evan. Hi, Rodriguez. Hi, Cole. Hi, Kodofish. Did I get everyone? Hi, Travis. Hi, Melwolf. Hi, CK586. All right. Hi, Harry Potter and Disney fan. You guys have been here a lot. If you are new to this live stream, I try to make these live streams as interactive as possible, so I will be coming to the chat a lot and asking your opinions about things. As always, if you leave a super chat, I will 100% be answering that, because I deeply appreciate any and all super chats you give. Oh, and we already have a super chat. Hi, Nicholas Wilson. Hi, Brittany. How are you? Thank you for the super chat. I am very good. I'm happy that I'm talking to you guys. I love doing these live streams. I look forward to them every week. And like I said, I think we have a really fun one today. So I can't wait to get into it, because I bet you guys have a lot of spicy takes about this too. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Daltoon. Hi, Morris. Hi, Kitty Can't Code. All right. Hi, Fortnite Pokemon fan. Oh, you love my videos. That's really nice. Thank you. Jasmine, we'll talk about that. Because Jasmine just said that The Little Mermaid didn't flop. So let's talk about it. Because I think out of all of the movies that we're about to talk about, The Little Mermaid has the most chance at breaking even. So it might not be a flop yet. But it is a disappointment compared to where the other Renaissance live-action movies landed. Like, Aladdin made $1 billion, The Lion King made $1 billion, Beauty and the Beast made $1 billion. So it's kind of disappointing that Little Mermaid is only going to make about half of that. So that's why I'm including it in this list. Even if it does break even, it's still considered a massive box office disappointment compared to what it should have been making. Oh, thank you, McCorman. Hi, Jacob. Thank you for watching me for the first time. Hi, America Chavez. All right. Hi, Nicholas. Evan thinks The Little Mermaid wasn't too bad. I don't think it was too bad either, but unfortunately, it seems like international audiences were really not willing to support this movie. So let's get into it. Let's jump in and explain, firstly, why I say The Little Mermaid is a box office disappointment. Because I do look at the box office a lot. I follow it just for fun. So I do know quite a bit about it, actually. So just as a rule of thumb, most movies have to make like 2.5 times their production budget in order just to break even. Because studios don't get 100% of the money that they make from theaters. They still have to share that money with theaters, because they have to make money too. And on top of that, you also have to include the marketing budget. It's not just the production budget too. So there's a lot of expenses going into it. And unfortunately, as you can see here, The Little Mermaid does have a production budget of $250 million, which is a lot. Like a lot. Even for expensive blockbusters, that's a lot. And they probably spent, in fact, not probably, I did look this up beforehand. They also spent $140 million extra dollars just to market this movie. So altogether, they spent like almost $400 million to make and promote this movie. So it is very, very expensive film. And that's why I say the fact that it's only made about 500 million so far is very disappointing because it's unlikely to break even. It could because it does have good legs domestically, but it might not it might not break even. And if it doesn't make money in theaters, then technically we do have to consider it a flop. Before I get into my reasons why I think the movie flopped, what are you guys' reasons? Prince says they don't think that racism is the reason for the failure. I have to agree with that. I don't think that everyone who didn't see this movie is a racist or anything like that. I think that... Do I think the race swapping hurt the film? I do, but not because of racism. I think it's mainly because these live-action remakes are solely being built on nostalgia. And it's really hard to get people to want to see your movies purely based on nostalgia when the lead actress doesn't look like the thing that you're supposed to be nostalgic for. You get what I'm saying? I think it's just that she just looked too different and the hair was too different and that it just felt like a completely different movie. Ignite Writer Studio says, I think live action fatigue. It also could be Disney live action fatigue. I've talked about it on my channel. I have live action fatigue. I think it's crazy the stuff that they're doing. The fact that they're making a live action Bambi is insane to me. The fact that they're doing live action Moana, even though that came out like 2 weeks ago, that's also insane. So yeah, I think it looks pretty bad. Yunny says, sad looking flounder. Yeah, I think the live action CGI animals also made the movie look really creepy in the marketing. I definitely think that kept people away. Just X Lobo says, my sister watched it and thought it was good, but I'm not sure why they changed her hair color, and if she had red hair, I would have recognized her. I honestly think the red hair is so iconic of the original Ariel that I think if they had just made Halle Bailey's hair even just like 20% redder, I think this movie would have done more at the box office. Even though it seems like such a small detail, I really think her hair just wasn't red enough to look like Ariel. Ariel's hair is known for being like fire hydrant red, and they went with a very soft ginger. I think you're right about the hair. Koharu says it's probably because more people are starting to see if it's worth it. Yeah, I think more and more people are becoming very, very picky about what they see in theaters. And if a film's not getting good enough buzz, people aren't going. Retro Nerd Girl says Disney live action has been a disaster, but they're too difficult to keep it dyed through the water scenes. Oh, you're talking about... Wait. Oh, no, I just combined two different comments. Hold on. Retro Nerd Girl says, Disney live action has been a disaster, but they keep doing it because they make money on merch. A lot. That's very true. We're just talking about box office grosses right now, but I think you're right about the merchandise thing. They are selling, like, the Halle Bailey version of Ariel. That doll is selling like hotcakes. So they're making a lot of money on merchandise. They may not make their money back in theaters, but they probably will make it back in merchandise. That's very true. And then Sadie T says, I heard they changed the hair color because it was too difficult to keep it dyed through the water scenes. Alright. I feel like I have some insider tea. Not really insider, but like, as a black woman who has, like, natural hair, I understand what it took to get her hair to be that way. And I understood how difficult it was. When the news came out that it costs, like, something in, like, the 6 figures just to do Halle's hair for the Little Mermaid, that didn't surprise me at all. Because I understood how much it took to, like, get that hair to look the way that it did. And, on top of that, I could also tell that her hair was CGI underwater, because her roots looked nothing like how her roots did when she was on land. When she was on land, her roots were like a natural kinky texture, but when she was underwater, her hair was like silky smooth straight, like it was not her hair. Like, there was a lot of little stuff like that. It's just like, as a black woman, I noticed, because I was like, I could tell your hair is like not real, or like the fact that they gave her like a pink headband. I could tell it was to cover her natural new growth. Yeah, stuff like that I could tell it just wasn't working out. Um, Grace Likes to Draw says, since people don't have opinions nowadays, they just heard about the bad press and was like, no, I didn't want to see it. Yeah, honestly, I think nowadays, if your movie has really bad buzz on social media, that is like the kiss of death. Kiss of death. Even if a lot of people are talking about your film, it might seem like that's just, publicity. Any publicity is good publicity, but I really think with movies, if it's bad buzz, it's gonna hurt you. Um, Ju says, I think there was definitely some racism, but it was a small effect. The movie was just not very colorful or visually attractive. It was also marketed on race rather than the quality of the story. Something I think I've noticed lately is that I think visuals are mattering more and more for people when it comes to like actually showing up to theaters. I think that's why like the Avatar movies make so much money, because the visuals are just so gorgeous. I think that's why Barbie is tracking to do very, very well, because the visuals are so like bold. I feel like people are like gravitating towards like really strong, bold visual choices lately. Like anything that just looks drab is not good enough for people. Mr. Ringo says, I heard that they're delaying Beyond the Spider-Verse because the animators need a break. Yes, I heard about that. Okay, side note. This is not about the Little Mermaid, but side note. Did you guys hear about the scandal for Across the Spider-Verse? Apparently there was a scandal that they overworked their animators and made them work like 12 hours a day and like didn't give them really much any break or pause, because they were crunching to get the movie done on time. And now the next movie, Beyond the Spider-Verse, is likely to get delayed by a couple of years to give the animators time. It's a pretty big scandal, actually. I'm surprised that this would happen to a movie like Across the Spider-Verse. I'm not surprised by like the other Marvel movies, but I thought that with Across the Spider-Verse, the directors would have been more like media savvy to know that that would obviously get out, you know? Yeah, I know, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. The entire chat's like, no. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's awful. I know. And like, apparently this is happening more and more, because not only are we now getting reports that Across the Spider-Verse, like, not abusing their animators, but in a way kind of, but also that they were still making edits to the movie even after they released it. So if you have seen Across the Spider-Verse even more than once in theaters, you might have noticed a few differences in the movie, because there are like several differences in theaters right now, because they weren't like fully done when they released it, and they are like releasing the full like scenes now. Ignore the ringer, sorry. Cole says that's very common in the video game industry. That's true. It is very common in the video game industry, but that used to be like, that never happened in the movie industry, yet it's happening more and more. That happened with No Way Home too. They weren't done with the visual effects, so they were patching the movie after it had already had been released, and like fixing the visual effects after the fact. Like, that's starting to become more and more common. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Ringo says there are 2 different versions. Is it only 2? Because I saw a whole scene on Twitter that I didn't even see in my version of Spider-Verse. Something with a horse? That was not in my version. It is Kite the Scandal. Yeah. No, it's not my mom calling. It's my voice box calling. Whenever a delivery person wants to come to the building, they call up here, but someone else will pick it up. Oh, it happens in the anime industry a lot, Nagisa? Interesting. It's not my mom, guys. Oh, thank you, Kiwi Roses. Oh, the Justice Show. Next thing you know, your movie DVD gets an update. Imagine still not being done when it's out on DVD. That's hilarious. Yeah. cliffhanger, I know. On one hand, it's kind of glad that they left it on the cliffhanger because they're probably gonna need people to like care because it's gonna be a while before we see the next one probably. But anyway, that was just a side point because someone pointed it out and I wanted to talk about it. But yes. Anyway, Little Mermaid. Any closing thoughts before we get to the next one on why else you thought this movie flopped? Or shall we say underperformed? Maybe it's not fair to call it a flop yet. But it's definitely underperforming. Gonna wait for the chat to catch up because there is a bit of a delay in the chat. Animation just hits different. You're right, Kitty Cat. And animation has been dominating the box office this year, so I'm hoping that means we get a lot more like adult skewing animation. Live actions are too realistic, says Maximoff. Just X Lobo says it's the water. Yeah, it could be that. The trailer's bronze wig also didn't look good. I think it was generally the marketing. I think both Elemental and The Little Mermaid have the same problem, where the marketing was just not good. Alright, moving on to the next one. Fast X. Did anyone see this movie? I actually saw it. I have to say, I don't take any of these movies seriously. They're all, like, varying degrees of bad. But you're not supposed to take these seriously. They're supposed to be just, like, fun, silly, campy movies. But this one is doing really, really bad. And it's gonna lose, like, possibly over $100 million. Maybe more. Because Fast X has a production budget of $340 million. This movie, Fast X, is one of the most expensive movies ever made. Did you know that? Fast X is one of the most expensive movies ever made in the history of movies. Did you know that? It cost a ridiculous amount of money to make these films because the cast is so large and it's so like visual effects heavy. $340 million this movie cost. And it hasn't even made double that at the box office. So far, it hasn't even hit $700 million yet. Which, again, knowing that a movie has to make 2.5 times their budget just to break even, this movie is far from break even, and I think it's going to be the first Fast and Furious movie to actually flop in theaters. So that's pretty significant. Did anyone see this? Yeah, you guys are like tripping out over how expensive it is. I know, right? $340 million. It's like, I think it might be the most expensive. It's like in the top 3. I'm pretty sure. Disney 67 says it was this because they were still working on the CG. Are you talking about The Little Mermaid? Sakura Bloom says this franchise needs to die. Yeah. The fact that they're on number 10 means that they probably overstayed their welcome. The last Fast and Furious movie I thought was actually really good was Fast 7. When that was the one where like Paul Walker had died. I thought that one actually turned out really good despite everything that happened behind the scenes. I haven't thought any of the Transformers movies since, not Transformers, but Fast X movies since then have been good. Yeah, everyone's just like, they need to stop with this franchise. America Chavez says, this is why I am not willing to pay money to watch movies this year. Oh, why is that? You just think the movies aren't worth it? Or you think, like, Hollywood is overdoing it? It should have ended at Fast 7. Yeah, I agree. The franchise is doing better internationally, but the overall number is so bad, it's still not going to make a profit. Yeah, they're milking it hard. I think that's one of Hollywood's problems in general right now, is that they are milking too many franchises hard. And I think a lot of them are just kind of out of gas. Oh, we have a super chat from Shelly Lee. Shelly Lee is always super generous every week. Thank you, Shelly. Fast, what? I missed that one. By the way, your reaction to color in the Barbie was just priceless. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. Yes, I'm very excited for Barbie. And again, I was looking this morning at like what Barbie might do in the box office, and it's looking like Barbie is gonna make more money opening weekend than the Flash might make in its entire run domestically. So Barbie's gonna do really well. Thank you again, Shelly, for the comment. But yeah, it's. I think Hollywood needs some fresh, original ideas, and I'm glad that Barbie's bringing the color back too. Out of gas, no pun intended. I didn't even think about the pun, Luciana. That you're right. That is a pun. Oh, thank you, Yusuf. So you guys don't care about Fast X at all. That's fair. Transformers. Anyone see Transformers? This one also flopped. Oh, we have another super chat from Martin. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. What do you think about Jason Momoa as the villain? I thought he was the best part of that movie. I thought he was campy and fun, and I think you guys probably know by now I love camp. And give me a good campy, silly villain like that, and I'm probably gonna love you. And I thought Jason Momoa did a really good job. I think it's really sad that Vin Diesel now has beef with him because he overshadowed him. But it's true. A lot of... Okay, it's a bit of a mixture. Some of you saw Transformers and some of you didn't. Alright, that's fine. For the ones that did see it, though, did you like it? And for those who didn't see it, why didn't you see it? I'll tell you why I saw it. My mom dragged me to it. I didn't want to see it, but she wanted to see it. She didn't want to go by herself, so I went with her. I'm over these Transformers movies. I haven't really liked these movies in a long, long time. That being said, I do think that this Transformers movie is better than, like, some of the worst ones that I saw that made me swear off the whole franchise. I still don't think they're great, but I think they're slowly getting better. Bunny says, as a Transformers fan, it was a pretty good movie. I thought it was decent. It wasn't bad. I thought it was okay. Glitchmation says, do you like the concept of the animal Transformers? I gotta tell you, I know nothing about Transformers or anything about this movie when I showed up. So when I saw the animal Transformers, I was like, what the heck is this? That completely came out of nowhere for me because I didn't know they were in the movie. And I was like, since when could Transformers be animals? I don't know. I was a little confused because I was trying to think about, like, why were they half cyborg, half animals? It was really confusing to me as someone who doesn't understand this stuff. But they're all right. I mean, they weren't bad. I was just, like, waiting for an explanation. It was like the movie assumed I understood what the heck they were, or what they were, or why they were there. Lucario Mew says, I liked Rise of the Beast better than most of the other movies. It wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. Those animal Transformers are called Maximals. Thank you for letting me know. Hi, Yellow Umbrella! You're here like every weekend. Thank you. High five gameplay. Bronze Wing says, the addition of the animal Transformers was a good change that definitely got me more interested, but I didn't think it was enough. I thought they were at least something different. I hadn't seen them in another Transformers movie, but I don't think they, like, really pushed it over the edge for me to make me love it or anything like that. I think, to be honest, I think these Transformers movies are flopping because who the heck still wants Transformers movies besides, like, the hardcore base? I feel like most people are just kind of over this franchise at this point, to be honest. Crystal says she saw Transformers because The Little Mermaid was sold out, and this was an alternative. So basically you saw this because you had to, not because you wanted to. That's still pretty bad. You're just going to wait for it to stream? All right, Emily. Oh, we have another super chat from Walter. Thank you. Script Doctor, a YouTube film reviewer you might want to interview, said the Bond franchise doesn't have fatigue. Sci-fi doesn't have fatigue. Superhero films do. Also consider Chris Gore a filmmaker. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Thank you. I think you made a great point here about the, like, do we think that superhero fatigue is actually real? Or do you think it's just bad movie fatigue? That's the question I'm asking, though. Because I still think Spider-Man movies are going to do well. I still think Joker Part 2 is going to do well when it comes out. I still think there are a few, like, comic book movies that can still do well. I just think that whereas maybe before most people were seeing, like, every comic book movie or at least would check them out, now I think people are just being more and more cautious about which superhero movie to see. Oh, Travis says, I haven't been to theaters since Frozen 2. Frozen 2? That was forever ago. You gotta get back to theaters. People think it's bad movie fatigue. Alright, I think it's bad movie fatigue as well, for the reason I just explained. I think the next Tom Holland Spider-Man movie is still gonna make $1 billion, you know? I think Deadpool 3 could do really well, because they're bringing back Wolverine. I still think we can have, like, superhero movies that do really well. It's just gonna have to be, like, a really, really big deal and a really good movie. And we have another super chat from Nicholas. Thank you. Gave up on Transformers for justifying what? I can't even say that word because YouTube will automatically demonetize me. When did it do that? Nicholas, you gotta explain. I need context. When did that happen? I hope not. What? Okay, moving on. Grace Lexadraw says, I haven't been in theaters since Sonic 2. That's also a long time. Veritax says, bad movie fatigue plus fear of political ideology injection plus high ticket and concession prices due to inflation. All right. Okay, should we have this conversation? Should we have this conversation? What do we think about... Because I feel like I have a very mixed audience, because I welcome people from all, like, ideas. I want to have, like, a debate about this kind of stuff. What do you think about Hollywood putting a lot of political ideology, really mainly identity politics and third-wave feminism, into a lot of their movies? Do you think that's what's hurting Hollywood as a whole, or do you think that's not part of the issue? Be honest. No judgment here. Okay, Kitty Cat says, I will die on the hill that wokeness is not a valid criticism. Okay. What is wokeness, though? Honestly, everyone has a different word. I don't even understand what it means anymore. Because I feel like at one point I understood what it meant. But then now I feel like the word woke is being applied to, like, everything. You know what I mean? It's lost meaning to me. Okay. Kat says it's a huge issue, while Evan says it's not. Hollywood says it's total BS. Prince says it's total BS. Bad Dracula says don't really think it's an issue most of the time. Don't really think it's part of the issue. Yeah, people are definitely abusing the word woke. People don't trust movies anymore. I think you're right, Koharu. I think people aren't trusting Hollywood anymore, period. Like, I feel like people are just wary about Hollywood product. Because I'm actually putting on a video tomorrow, hopefully, or I'm talking about, like, the decline of Hollywood and whatnot. I'm going to talk about briefly about these movies not doing well. And I'm going to bring up the fact that I do think that people are just in general, like, are not really into Hollywood and the stuff that they're making right now. Like, young kids, like, young teens, they would rather watch anime. Or, like, Eastern stuff. They're not even really watching a lot of Hollywood stuff unless it's something their friends are talking about. Lusario says, the thing that people don't seem to want to acknowledge is that every era of Hollywood has some sort of progressive or liberal movement, except the 90s. Is that true? I did not realize that. Why not the 90s, though? Taisha says, a good movie that relies on good storytelling rather than politics. I think most people can agree with that. You want to know my opinion on all of this? I honestly think that, obviously, I think diversity is great, and I think that an issue that a lot of classic older movies has is that you try to watch like a movie from the 50s now, and it just feels so outdated, and like a 100% all white cast does feel unnatural now. So I'm glad that we are moving towards having more diversity and having like making it so that every role isn't automatically supposed to go to a white person, and then maybe we give it to someone of color if we think about it in like a smaller role. I'm glad that we're moving away from that. That being said, I do think Hollywood does diversity really bad a lot of times. I think we're still in this like learning phase where Hollywood's trying to learn how to do diversity right, and a lot of times I do think they get it wrong, and it comes across as patronizing and preachy, and it turns people off. And I think if Hollywood could just get it right, and sometimes they do with things like The Last of Us and Arcane, it could be done really well and be very successful. But when you don't do it right, I think you just risk turning a lot of people away. Oh, we have another super chat from Kat Colforth. Thank you so much, Kat. It's never subtle, though. I feel like it's too blatant sometimes. Has-Been Hotel is really diverse, but it's not part of the story. I haven't seen Has-Been Hotel. I'll look into that. I do feel like most of the time, like, honestly, like 90% of the time, I agree with you, it's not subtle. But there are a few shows and movies where I do think the diversity is done well. And it is shows like The Last of Us, Arcane, well, there's some other good ones. Like, it can be done well. It just, you have to really think about it smartly and not just like, let's check some boxes, you know? Sebastian says, if storytelling is compelling, what criticism doesn't stick? Exactly. Exactly. Mr. Pink says, with diversity, they're trying to correct the mistakes of the past. They want revenge for the mistakes of the past. I think Hollywood is overcorrecting a bit. I think it's nice that they're finally adding diversity, but I do think in some instances they're like overcorrecting. But again, I think it's just because we're in like this weird period. It's only been like maybe within like the past like 5-10 years where this diversity stuff really took off. It's still very recent. Oh, thank you, Nicholas. Movies aren't flopping because you ain't in them. Oh, that's very sweet. Okay, thank you. Taisha says, as a black person, Hollywood push for diversity doesn't feel genuine. Yeah, that's my issue. A lot of the times, the diversity doesn't feel genuine. It feels like, I don't know if this is a thing in other countries, but in America, in schools, especially like in elementary schools, they always have these posters everywhere where it's like you show like a little kid from like every race around a globe or something, and it's supposed to be like, oh, harmony and all that. I feel like that has been like every movie. You know what I mean? Taika Waititi, he's a director who did like Thor: Love and Thunder and a couple of other stuff. He's a very popular director. He's also indigenous, so he is a person of color. He recently did a speech where he talked about he also doesn't think a lot of the race mixing in Hollywood feels genuine, because it feels like you can clearly see like they're trying to get like every person from every single race in the background, and you would almost never see that in real life. So I think that's why it comes across as forced sometimes. Harry Potter and Disney fan says, is there any Disney live action remake you want to see? Yes. Atlantis. That's the only one I want to see. Atlantis. Yes, the Getty stock images. You get what I'm talking about, Cynthia. You know exactly what I'm saying. Everyone knows those Getty stock perfectly blended images. That's kind of what like most Hollywood movies feel like right now to me. It just feels unnatural. America Chavez says it's the same as Pride Month. Corporate companies selling LGBTQ merch, and then oh yeah, and then they're like, we're totally gay, believe me, it's super straight. Yeah, although this Pride Month has been very different because a lot of corporations aren't like publicly supporting Pride Month, which is very different. I think we might be seeing the end of corporate pride. We'll see. Yellow Umbrella says She-Hulk is the true meaning of wokeness, but movies like Elemental and the Marvels are just getting criticized as being woke for nothing. If you mean She-Hulk is woke by being like overly feminist, I could see that because I think She-Hulk was insufferable. That one is more like I guess a woke kind of movie or show. I do agree with you there, Yellow Umbrella. All right, let's move on to the next one. Sorry, I know that was another side thing, but it was relevant to the conversation. So now let's get to The Flash. Now I know a lot of you probably have a lot of opinions about The Flash. Because this movie is bombing. Like, not just flopping, not just underperforming, but like a full-on catastrophic bomb. That's how bad this movie is doing. It's doing way worse than like all the other ones on this list. So it has a budget of $200 million, although I've seen rumors that it's way more than that, and I believe it's way more than that because they had like 1 million reshoots on this film. I don't believe that budget, but for now it's $200 million. And it's only made $200 million worldwide. Look at this. $200 million worldwide. That's all it's made so far. And again, studios don't keep 100% of the money. Theaters keep like 50% of that. So they're not making like any money on this. They're gonna lose. In fact, I think I saw from like one of the trades, Warner Brothers Discovery could potentially lose like $300 million on this film. $300 million. That's how bad of a flop The Flash is. Like, it's bad. Why do you guys think The Flash did so badly before I tell you what I think? Extreme Wizardry says, we are superheroed out. DC and Marvel need to quit. Yeah, I think because there's just so much superhero content, I think people are just being pickier about which superhero movie they see. I think even before the pandemic, if you were a Marvel fan, you're probably going to see most, if not all, Marvel movies. Now I don't think that's the case anymore. I think it's really going to depend on if the movie is good. Ezra was the main reason I didn't see The Flash. I'm waiting until it's on streaming because I don't want to give this movie any money. Because I really, really hate how, not just what Ezra did, but the fact that the studios seemed like they really wanted to protect Ezra and even invited him to like the freaking premiere. It just seemed like they didn't actually care about what Ezra did or any of his crimes, and that really rubbed me the wrong way. Oh, we have another super chat. Thank you. Oh, sorry, had to fix my glasses. From Madison, EM controversy, DCEU inconsistency. EM controversy. I think that means Ezra Miller. DCEU inconsistency, nostalgia equals flop. Yeah, so you're saying that it's Ezra Miller that did it in, the fact that no one cares about the DCEU besides like hardcore comic book fans, and the fact that I don't think the nostalgia in The Flash, I think the nostalgia in The Flash appeals to people who are like 40 and older. You know what I mean? Whereas the bulk of the superhero going audience is like 18 to 34, and I think the majority of the people who care about Michael Keaton's Batman or most of the cameos that were in The Flash are well over 34. I think there was a huge mismatch over like where they think the audience is nostalgic for. I think those properties are just too old, to be honest. Thank you for the super chat. The Flash should have been recasted. The the thing is, though, they couldn't recast Ezra Miller because there's literally two of them in this film, and he's in like every scene according to what I've heard. So they could, if they recasted Ezra Miller, they would have had to just redo the whole movie. So I understood why they didn't do that. All right, five gameplay. You've been spamming the chat the whole time. Antihero says, also the DCEU announcing arrest is why people, yeah, I agree. Antihero brings up the fact that James Gunn announced to the world that basically none of these films mattered because he's rebooting the whole MCU. And honestly, I think they should reboot the MCU because I think the DCEU has so many problems, they really should just reboot from scratch at this point. But I do think it is hurting the rest of these DC movies they still have to release. Because everyone's going to be like, why am I even seeing this if I'm not going to see these people again? Okay, Caden said, this movie will have the same effect that Green Lantern bombing at the box office did. Will it, though? Will it? Because they're still moving ahead with Superman Legacy. I feel like if Superman Legacy bombs, Warner Brothers probably won't make another DC film for like 10 years. I honestly feel like Superman Legacy is DC's last hope. If that movie bombs, like, what else are they gonna do? You know? They've painted themselves into a corner where the DCEU lives or dies by how well Superman Legacy does. That's a lot of pressure. Artsy Cancelable says, I agree with Sadie T. They didn't recast The Flash, but they canceled the Batgirl movie, which doesn't make sense. Exactly. They shouldn't have canceled the Batgirl movie. They should have canceled The Flash instead, honestly. Like, how bad could Batgirl have been to be worse than The Flash, you know? I honestly doubt it was that bad at this point. Right, Yellow Umbrella? Superman Legacy has a ton of pressure on it. I do not envy James Gunn right now. He has a tough job at DC right now. A tough job. I want Incredibles 3 as well. Issa Imzi says, also, Marvel pays for the cheapest and quickest CGI, so it gets out as fast as possible. And you can tell there's no care put into them anymore. Yeah, I think that's part of why Marvel has declined as well. I think you can just tell. I think before, even though Marvel movies have always been criticized for being like a conveyor belt type of filmmaking, I really do feel like the first 3 phases of Marvel, the movies were a lot better than that. Like, they felt like they were made by people who knew what they were doing and cared about what they were doing. I haven't felt that about most of the movies post-Endgame. And I think that's part of the issue. Yellow Umbrella says, oh yeah. I know. There were just the craziest headlines about Ezra Miller. All about, like, starting cults and, like, punching a bunch of people in Hawaii. Like, I don't know what that was about. Oh, we have another super chat. Wow, another super chat. Thank you, Jacob. Anyone who hasn't seen it should absolutely see it. It's one of the best recent superhero movies. Also, definitely trans homophobia and the allegations against Ezra Miller. I would recommend reading the victim's statements. Interesting. What about the other stuff, though? Because we have Ezra Miller on camera literally choking a woman twice. And one of those times was before the whole Hawaii escapade. So it's not like Ezra Miller is completely innocent no matter what. The dude has problems. But thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. But it is important to keep in mind at the same time that a lot of this is just accusations. So we don't know 100% about any of this. But I have to say, it does look very sketchy. Again, just based off the fact that we have, like, video proof that Ezra is a violent person. Some person skywalking says, Oh, the live action Lilo and Stitch film? I actually think it might do well since so many people seem interested in it, to be honest. I've gotten this question a lot, and I feel like the people must want the Lilo and Stitch movie. Alright. Let's move on from The Flash. Any last comments about The Flash before we move to the next disaster? Extreme Wizardry says MCU should have taken a break after Endgame. Yeah. I mean, they did, though. I mean, I think people are forgetting that they did take a break after Endgame. They had all of 2020 where they weren't allowed to release anything because of obvious reasons. So they did take a year break. I guess maybe that wasn't enough. We have another super chat from Marissa. Thank you so much, Marissa. I didn't want to support Ezra, but my husband, who's a huge CW The Flash fan, also didn't want to see it. He said he didn't care about the DC movies in general. I think that's very telling. I think most of the general public don't care about DC. I think the interest between DC and Marvel, when it, like, from the general public, is like this. Or I guess I should say this. Like, Marvel's up here, DC's down here. General public don't care about DC. Like, not even half as much as they care about Marvel. Which is crazy when you think about it, because DC had more of the iconic characters to begin with. Like, they had a Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, yet they got beat by freaking Ant-Man. Like, how did that happen? That's actually kind of incredible when you think about it. Jacob Chabin says, also please stop misgendering Ezra. I thought he went by he, they. I apologize if I'm misgendering, but I thought Ezra went by both pronouns. Next question. Dalton Network says, but animated DC movies are good. I've never seen any animated DC movie, but I've heard that they're good. Let's move on to the next one. Alright. Elemental. I just did a whole video talking about why I think Elemental didn't do well, so I'm not gonna go into too much detail here. All I'm gonna say is, please go watch my video. It's called, what did I call it? I don't remember, but it's the last video on my channel. If you haven't seen it, I just did a whole review of Elemental and why I think the movie bombed. So I'm not going to repeat myself here, but I do want to hear your guys' thoughts. Why do you think Elemental didn't do as well? Thankfully, it does look like the movie is holding well domestically, but it's still not going to make a lot of money worldwide, so still not going to make any money in theaters. Why do you think this movie's flopping? Okay, so Elemental hasn't been released everywhere. That's a good point. Maybe it'll do better as time goes on. I think Barbie's gonna do very well in theaters, Cynthia. Very well. People think it's woke, but I really liked it. See, that's the whole thing again. Why do people think this movie's woke? What does woke mean? To me, this movie is not woke. To me, woke is like, if woke was a thing, woke would be like, I don't know. I guess like She-Hulk. That was to be like the closest thing to being like, I think, truly woke something is. Or at least to me. Woke, to me, is like when something is trying to be too forced and too, like, virtue signalist. Like, you're just trying to virtue signal. But I don't think that's the case with Elemental. How is Elemental woke? Sadie T says, honestly, Elemental just looks so Pixar generic. Yeah, it is very generic. I explained in my video why I think that is. I think a lot of people are liking it because, honestly, I think people went in with low expectations based on the marketing. But I still don't think it's, like, great, you know? I think it's good. It's solid. Christina says, I'm pretty sure woke means gay. Yeah, people have been using woke instead of gay. I feel like that's what people mean a lot of the time, too. Soul Ace says, I watched the movie yesterday and I think it's a bit generic. And for kids, probably also not that interesting because of the rom-com part. Yeah, I think Pixar is also having a problem where they used to make movies where like kids and adults equally could like the movies, but I feel like their movies lately are appealing almost too older, and I don't think young kids can really get into Pixar movies lately, which is true, by the way. I don't have an article to prove it, but I've been reading a lot lately how like young kids don't have the same affinity for Disney that like people from my generation do. Like young kids are not, they don't care nearly as much about Disney movies and like Disney princess films and stuff like that as much as like my generation when we were kids did. So, and I think part of that is like Pixar is like making movies that I think appeal to like too older, like too much older. I think they need to start making movies that like young kids could like again. Victor, yes, Elemental is based on the director's parents. But I still think, because someone brought this up in my comments actually, that a lot of people in California and who work for the studios come from like immigrant families. So I'm wondering if the reason why we're getting a lot of these same sort of generational trauma kind of storylines is because a lot of the animators went through that themselves. And I think that might be like a perfect example of how LA can be such a bubble. You know what I mean? I really think Pixar would greatly benefit just from hiring some fresh talent and getting like some more ideas in there. Yes, Elio does look like it's for a younger audience, so I'm hoping that will make the movie like more successful for them. Bronze Wing says Encanto did well, but then every other movie doing that is a bit too much. The thing is, Encanto still didn't even do well in theaters. It did well later when it went to Disney Plus. Encanto still technically flopped in theaters. So it's really hard to get people in theaters to see these kinds of movies, I think. But thankfully, it seemed people liked it once it got to streaming. Okay. Wait. Extreme Wizardry says, perhaps there is a growing gap between writers and most people who aren't in LA. Yes. That thing right here, what you just said, Extreme Wizardry, the gap between writers and the people in LA, I think is like one of Hollywood's main issues right now. Hollywood has always been a bubble. That's not new. But I definitely think that the difference between what Hollywood, like the kinds of movies Hollywood wants to make, and the kinds of movies the general public wants to watch, I think the gap between those two things have never been more different. I think it's getting more separate. And I think that's a large part of the issue. Thank you for bringing that up. David says, what about Mission Impossible? I think Mission Impossible will do well. I'm looking forward to it, so I'm going to see it. Yeah, Danielle says Hollywood needs new and fresh ideas. I agree. All right, moving on from Elemental to Ruby Gillman. This hasn't come out yet, but it's not looking good. In fact, it's looking to bomb. It's looking to be DreamWorks' biggest bomb ever. So, according to Matt Maloney of The Ringer, who is a really trusted source, it's projected to open to only $8 million this weekend. $8 million for Ruby Gillman. It's gonna flop bad, guys. Like, this might be the worst performing DreamWorks movie ever. Honestly, again, I'm not surprised by this. I saw the trailer for Ruby Gillman. I know a number of you really wanted me to react to that trailer. But the reason I didn't react to it was because I thought the movie looked really bad. I'm not even gonna lie, I thought the movie looked pretty bad. And I didn't have anything positive to say about it. And I didn't want to just hate on the movie. So I chose not to review it. And so I'm not surprised by this at all. Yeah, the trailers also showed the whole movie too, which is weird. Yeah, only 8 million for the whole weekend. It's looking bad. And the budget is like around the same budget as Elemental. So it's pretty bad that the fact that it's looking like it's not even going to match that. Um yeah, a lot of you keep saying that it's the trailer that showed a lot. It's very true. Oh, but Grace likes to draw and wants to see it, so there's a few people who are going to see it. I'm still seeing it because I will be reviewing it for my channel, so look out for my Ruby Gillman review this Saturday. But yeah, it's looking bad. Just X Lobo says, okay, this movie, I wish they sticked with Puss in Boots. Kind of, oh, you wish what they stuck with the Puss in Boots kind of art style. I really think that sketch art style that Spider-Verse made popular is, like, the most popular art style at the moment, at least in the West. I think DreamWorks and Disney and Pixar, I think they really should start experimenting with it because I think it's becoming, like, the new popular standard. All right. Oh, we have another super chat from Comic Court. Thank you for the super chat. Wish the films today were as sold as back then. I want to look into what the change was / is. My first reason would be the rise of the internet. Oh, you mean like in the marketing? Like you wish movies were sold as they actually are? I'm not totally sure I understand what you're asking, but I do mention in my video that's coming out tomorrow that I do think the rise of the internet essentially is what did Hollywood in, and it's been like a very slow death by 1,000 paper cuts type situation ever since, and it's only getting worse. I am not going to sing Part of Your World, Anchored. Nope. Not singing on here. Hi, Laser. All right. So let's get to the next movie, which is Indiana Jones. Again, this hasn't come out yet, but it's not looking good. Indiana Jones is predicted to be a bomb at the box office. Huge bomb, by the way. This movie also has an incredibly expensive budget. I'm pretty sure it might be up there with Fast X for one of the most expensive films ever made. Hold on. Because they're making a lot of those lately. I gotta check. Indiana Jones. Dial of Destiny. Yep. Do they have the budget for this? Where is it? Oh, there it is. Production budget for this is $300 million. So it's cheaper than Fast X. Maybe, if this is an honest number. I even doubt that it's this low. I think it's probably more than this. But $300 million. Again, this movie is one of the most expensive movies ever made. I don't know why Hollywood is making these, like, super expensive films that need to make, like, $1 billion to break even, but Indiana Jones is one of them. I think it's gonna bomb hard. What do you guys think? Yeah, I agree. Lucasfilm cannot get out of its own way. It's Lucasfilm is a joke. Honestly, who's the worst studio? Like, which studio is currently the worst off right now? Pixar, Lucasfilm, Disney, Marvel, or DC? Which one is doing the worst right now? Yeah, looks like everyone says it's gonna flop. Oh, Adventure Await says it's money laundering. Oh, not money laundering. All right, Arvid, I'll answer your question. I don't think Maria Hill will be back. I think she's dead for good. It's pretty surprising. I was surprised that they killed her off. I think this movie is another film that is gonna appeal to an older demographic. Because I don't think that the Indiana Jones films have had the cultural staying power to make young people care about this film. Because I'm 27, and I don't really care about Indiana Jones, and I don't think I've ever met anyone my own age who cares about these movies. So I don't think there's really much of a nostalgia factor for, like, really anyone under the age of 35. I could be wrong, but I don't think this movie is really going to appeal to like a younger audience much. Um, One of the Pirates movies was over 400 million. What? 400 million for a Pirates movie back in that day? Oh my god. Oh, Zenster says I'm the older demographic. I'm not into this movie. So no one's into this film. Dang. Who actually is excited for this? Because everyone in my chat's like, who the hell cares about this movie? That's really bad. um, Trust me, I'm a dinosaur from the Raiders era. And I do not care about Indy 5. Oof. So no one cares. Oh, that's not good. This movie cost $300 million and it's projecting to open around The Flash. This movie could be an even bigger bomb than The Flash. That's how bad this movie is projecting to do. That's not good. That's not good at all. I don't even understand how Lucasfilm has money right now. Like, they're not making movies. They're just making shows that are, like, dying on Disney Plus. So, like, where is their money coming from? Yeah, see Elemental. I feel like out of all these movies we've been mentioning, Elemental's definitely one of the best ones. Oh no! Upscaled Pixel says, who was Indiana? You don't even know who Indiana Jones is? Oh man. It's gonna be rough for this movie. It's gonna be real rough. I'm very old, and the fourth movie killed the franchise. You know what? I actually remember seeing Crystal Skull in theaters. I was 12 years old, and I remember seeing that movie in theaters. And even as a 12-year-old, I remember thinking the fridge scene where Indiana Jones hides in a fridge to protect himself from a nuke. Even as a 12-year-old, I thought that movie was the stupidest thing I'd ever seen in my life. I have like very clear memories of seeing that scene as a child in theaters and thinking, wow, this movie is really stupid. And that was like back when I thought like most movies were good because like my standards were super low because I was 12. And even back then I remember very clearly like, wow, this movie's really bad. um Yeah, Shia LaBeouf was a bad choice. Yeah, Lucasfilm is a huge mess. Oh, we have another super chat. Thank you, little kitty. Thank you so much. Are you going to react to more of Avatar The Last Airbender? I think I might closer to when the Netflix series drops, because I think there'll be more interest then. Right now, it just doesn't seem like there's enough interest to warrant it, but I think hype will increase once the Netflix show comes out, so I think I'll revisit the series then. But thank you for the super chat. But I definitely plan on covering any and all Last Airbender stuff when we do get it, because I love that show. The aliens in Indy 4. I don't even remember the aliens, man. I just remember the fridge and something about monkeys, and it seemed like they were always on a motorcycle. I don't even know. I just have, like, memories of a child just not enjoying that movie at all. Just being like, Dad, why did you take me to this? The thing is, I didn't even know that that fridge scene would become so infamous later on. Like, it wasn't like a thing back then to be like, oh, I remember that fridge scene and, you know, Crystal Skull. That became a thing later on. But even as I was watching it happen back then, I was like, oh, this is stupid. I might also review Nimona. I don't know if you guys are interested in that, but it's a Netflix animated movie that's coming out recently that Disney rejected. So I'm interested in reviewing it just to see why Disney would have rejected it and whether or not maybe they should have said yes. Because I have a feeling they should have said yes. Because I think the trailers for it look really good, actually. Any other thoughts about Indiana Jones? Literally every single person in my chat's just like, who the hell cares about this movie? I haven't seen one person that's like, I want to see it. Not one. Oh, Marissa, we have another super chat. Thank you, Marissa. Can we talk for a second how Hollywood keeps reusing older action stars instead of making new ones? Keanu Reeves, Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, and now poor Harrison Ford. It's fascinating to me. Well, the reason they keep going back to the old well is because there aren't really many new action stars. There's actually been like quite a few articles about this lately in all the trades about how Hollywood's lamenting the fact that they don't really have many movie stars. It's true. Because Jennifer Lawrence just had a new movie come out this weekend, and she's considered to be one of the last few movie stars. But even that film only opened to about 15 million, which, if that same movie came out to that same opening just 10 years ago, that would have been considered a disappointment. But standards have gotten so low for movie stars that now opening at 15 million is considered a good start. That's how bad it is for movie stars right now. I don't think there's really... I think Tom Cruise is a movie star. I think Sandra Bullock is a movie star. I think The Rock is a movie star. I can't really think of a whole lot that can, like, really promise a big, big opening. Like, on name alone. Yeah, Prince. No hard feelings, got 15 million opening weekend. Oh, Anchored Fitness, you want merch? Oh, that's such a nice idea. Maybe I should make merch. Should I make merch? I was thinking of, like, starting a TeePublic store. I might do that. Buggy Play says, I'm only going to see Indiana Jones because I get to see it free with my friend. Oh, no! Not only going to see a movie because you're being dragged to it for free. Oh man, this movie it's not looking good. Oh yes, Chris Pratt is another movie star. Even if you dislike him, you have to agree at this point. Like, dude can draw people to the theaters. Like, every movie he's in is like a big hit. Jack Black. That's true. But when is the last time Jack Black has, like, starred in his own movie? We haven't seen him, like, really, like, own a movie in a while, you know? Tom Holland is retiring for a year because critics are being very mean to his projects. I feel bad for Tom. Did you guys know that Tom Holland and I have the same exact birthday? I know that's random, but I always think it's funny. We were born in the exact same day in the exact same year. Like, to the T. I'm not making Scuttlebutt merch, Yellow Umbrella. What in the world? Emily says, I feel like Pratt is starting to fall off, though. Minus Mario. I don't think he was the draw there. Guardians was already a thing. That's true. We haven't really, to be honest, we don't really get to see most movie stars really get to, like own a movie by themselves with no IP attached. Because a lot of the time, they don't do well. That's why I said, like, I think Tom Cruise can do it. Sandra Bullock can do it. The Rock can do it. Because those are, like, the few names that can actually bring people to theaters on name alone. Oh, I think, Leonardo DiCaprio is another one. Denzel Washington is one. There's a few. But they're all older. Even the younger ones, like Zendaya or Tom Holland or... Timothy Chalamet. I like all of them, but I don't think people are going to see them in theaters for just them, you know? People are getting tired of Chris Pratt. I can see that. He is very overexposed. I'm very curious to see how Challengers does for Zendaya, because that will be a huge test of her. Can she actually drive tickets? Like, it's not an IP, it's an original movie. So the first time we will actually get to see if Zendaya can actually, you know, draw people in is with Challengers. So I'm very curious to see how that does. The trailer was spicy though. I think people are going to see it just to be horny, to be honest. Who cares about tennis? Zendaya's in a threesome. That's all people care about. Um, uh, what? Maximoff says, not sure about you guys, but I want to see a movie just for Aquafina. Well, it looks like you are Aquafina's #1 fan. Oh, we have another super chat. Thank you from Shy Luna Midnight. Thank you so much. What does the 20 to 30-year-old audience want? I think they want something like Barbie, or we want something like Barbie. Honestly, I think that, because if we go on TikTok, I'm using Barbie as an example because it's a fresh, original concept that I think is going to do really well. And it's really resonating with young audiences because I think it's fresh, fun, and different. And also, I think that younger audiences, especially 20-somethings, I think they want to feel like they are a part of the movie experience, not just like a passive viewer. And I think that one of the reasons that Barbie's doing so well is because people feel like they can dress up and they can participate. Like, I know so many people are planning to go to the theater dressed up as Barbie. Like, people have been like doing the memes on social media and stuff like that. So I feel like that's honestly what people want. They want something like visually bold, fun, but also like something that people could easily latch onto and like be a part of. I think that's a huge part of it. But thank you for the question. Barbie has always existed, yes. I'm not talking about Barbie as a brand is new. I'm talking about the fact that the movie, the fact that it takes place in a Barbie world, and they actually built the set of this Barbie world. I think that's what feels very fresh and different to me. An immersive experience, yes, Cynthia. They want a movie with a TikTok dance. It doesn't have to be a TikTok dance. I think it's just something that they feel like we feel like we can be part of. You know what I mean? Like, I think just watching a movie and then like that's it, it's like not enough for this generation. Like, it also has to be something that you share about and talk about online too. And the movies that are more easily able to do that with, I think, are the ones that younger audiences are gravitating towards more. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Oh, thank you for another super chat from Nagasia Furukawa. I hope I said that right. I'm so sorry. What do you think movies like to do to appeal to Gen Z? I think to get to Gen Z, also the marketing has to be good. Like, it can't be cringy. So get like someone who really understands social media to do it, because I think you could turn people away from a film if you have cringy marketing. But I think it really does need to be like something that can get people hyped. I really do think it has to be something that can get people hyped. Like, you have to feel like actual excitement. And it has to be something that all their peers are talking about to get people interested. I think that it needs that much, to be honest. And we have another super chat. Thank you from Shay Luna Midnight. How does the social media Hollywood actress survive in an overexposed industry? I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of like articles and videos talking about how actors today are saying like it's super hard to be a new actor in this industry because of that. Like, social media just makes everything 10 times harder, but it can make other things easier. Like, it's just a different weird time right now. But thank you for the super chat. I honestly don't know what they're doing to survive. It's real bad right there. It's real bad right now. I am not Aquafina's biggest fan, Yellow Umbrella. I don't know what you're talking about. Wes Anderson is popular amongst Gen Z, is what I read. That's true, but then they didn't see his movie. Wes Anderson just had a movie come out this weekend, and it made like $9 million. So, I don't know. Is Gen Z that Is he that famous with Gen Z? I mean, I know they like to recreate his style, but that doesn't mean they'll see his movie. Yes, Riru. It has to be real hype. Yeah. I think hype, honestly, matters more now than ever when it comes to like getting people to see your movie. You actually have to have like real hype. Mm. Angel check-in says, what we're seeing in the media is late game capitalism taking advantage. Well, I think we're seeing late capitalism taking over everything. That's just a worldwide societal issue. All right, we've been on this live stream for a long time. I did not realize it's been well over an hour. Oh my god. Okay, so I'm only going to answer a few more questions and then that'll be the end of the live stream. Thank you everyone who showed up. I did not realize it'd been that long. I was just enjoying talking to you guys, so this has been fun. Yeah, again, I'm just going to answer a few more questions and then that'll be it. And we have one more super chat from Anaba Minhas. Thank you so much. I don't know if you're a video game person, but what do you think about the Five Nights at Freddy's movie? A lot of fans have been waiting for 8 years for this. I think it could be a hit. I remember when Five Nights at Freddy's first came out and like it was everywhere. I never played the game myself, but I watched a bunch of like YouTube gamers play it. Like I remember back in the day I went through like a weird PewDiePie phase and I watched a lot of videos of PewDiePie playing that game. So I know it's huge. I think the movie itself could be huge because I know how big the fan base is. So I'm looking forward to it. Oh no, sorry Naruto. Brittany, have you listened to Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice version of Barbie World, says Arvin. I have. It's not my favorite song, to be honest. I've listened, they've only released a couple of the songs from the Barbie soundtrack. But to be honest, I've only liked like one of the songs so far. And that's the one by Pink Pantheress. I didn't like the one by Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice. I didn't like the one by Dua Lipa. So I'm hoping the rest of the album doesn't disappoint, but so far I've been kind of disappointed. The Justice Show says, what do you think about Oppenheimer? Should do well in the box office, made by Nolan. Same person who made Dunkirk, Interstellar, Dark Knight Trilogy, and Inception. I actually think it could do well. It's tracking to do well as well. I don't think it'll do well as Barbie. I actually think Barbie will do a lot better than Oppenheimer, but I think it could do well. Probably about as much as Dunkirk, to be honest. Alright, 2 more questions and I'll be done. Yes, Angel by Pink Panthers, I think is the best song that's come out of the soundtrack so far, by far. I do like Dua Lipa. I like a number of her songs. I just didn't like this Barbie song that she put out. It just sounded kind of generic to me. Oh, and we have another super chat. Thank you. Lots of super chats this stream. That's been great. Thank you. From Lusario Mew 358/2. The thing about Zillennial, late Gen Y, Cuspers, and Zoomers, Gen Z, is that we love things on social media, but rarely go to the theaters to support them. That's very true. As a Zillennial myself, that is very true. We will be on social media all day talking about a movie, but then we won't actually go and see it. But I think Barbie is going to be different this time because it seems like the online hype is actually translating into real life hype. So I think this one might actually benefit from all the memes this time. At least I hope. I want Barbie to do well. But thank you for the super chat. Alright, that was the second question. Alright, so thank you everyone who came to my live stream. I really liked talking to you guys. We talked for like almost an hour and a half because I just love talking to you. I lost track of time. I hope you liked this live stream. Thank you. We had no technical difficulties. Can you believe it? That's amazing. I'll see you guys next Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do this every week, once a week. So if you want to hop into my live stream, if you're watching the recording and you missed the live, I always do these once a week every Monday. So please make sure you come back for next week, and I'll see you guys next time.